Hello everyone, welcome to Java tutorial. So in this tutorial we are going to cover the topic Java JDBC. So Java JDBC, the full form of JDBC is Java Database Connectivity. So as the name suggests that this facility will connect our code from Java to the database, and with the help of this JDBC we store the data into the database and we retrieve the data from the database. So Java JDBC is a Java API to connect and execute query with the database. So Java API uses JDBC driver to connect with the database. So with the help of this JDBC driver we connect with the database and we execute our queries on the database. We can store the value, we can retrieve the value, we can delete the value, and we can manipulate the values. So database can be different. We can have a SQL Server, we can have MySQL or Oracle. So before this JDBC, ODBC API was used to connect with the database, but ODBC API were written in C and that was platform dependent. So Java defined its own API and that is known as JDBC drivers. So it is written in Java. So how we program with the JDBC? First of all, we define our driver. We execute the statement class.forName and we pass the driver. For example, for the MySQL we have com.mysql.jdbc.driver, and then we create a connection. This connection is a kind of session in between our Java code and the database. So this is provided by DriverManager. Connection is provided by DriverManager, and we pass three things. One is URL. This is jdbc.mysql, and we pass the URL, that is localhost. This is the port number 3306, and this is my database name. Suppose my database name is telecom, and here we have root is the password, username, and we do not have any password, so it is blank. If you have any password for the MySQL, you can pass it here. Once this connection is created, we create the statement or prepared statement from this connection, and after that we execute the SQL queries directly into the database. So we can directly execute the SQL queries to the database. Statement.execute query. So before we start, what we will do, we will first create a database. We will keep the name as telecom, and after that we will write a small code in order to create a table in the database. We will create the table with the help of JDBC. So we will use same this kind of code. We will create a table customer in the telecom database. So in order to start with the JDBC, first you should be aware of the basic concept of the MySQL. For example, how to create the database, how to see the results, how to see how many tables are there, how to retrieve the database. So we have this terminal here, and inside this terminal what we will do, we will write MySQL. As we are using the iOS operating system, so you will see terminal like this, and for Window or any other system we have MySQL console, so we can directly open that console. So here, in order to connect with that database, we will MySQL -u, and we will pass the username uroot. Then we will first check what are the databases which are available. Show databases, and here you can see that these are the 4 basic databases, inbuilt databases: information schema, MySQL, performance schema, and test, which are already available in the database. We will create our own database. So in order to create a database, we have query create database tel so this is the name of my database, semicolon, and here you can see that query okay, one row affected. So what we will do, we will again check show databases. So here you can see that you can see our database telecom. Now we want to use this telecom, so what we will do, use telecom database change, and now we want to check what are the tables inside this telecom. So in database we store the data in the form of tables. Table consists of columns and rows. So column consists of type of data and rows consist of data. Now MySQL, how to check how many tables are there, show tables. So here you can see that we have empty set, we do not have any table right now. So what we will do now, okay, now we will create the table in the telecom database which we have created right now with the help of this JDBC. So how we will proceed? Before we start, what we need, next thing, we need this JDBC driver. We need the jar file of the JDBC driver. So for that, what we have to do, we will create a folder inside our project folder, and we will keep its name as jars, and this is my jar. Now I have already downloaded my jar file, so this is my jar file. I will copy my jar file from here. Oh, all right, and now I will paste my jar file inside my jar. Now I have added my jar file here in my project, but what next thing we have to do, we have to add this jar file in our build path. So here, how to add this jar file, here you will see in the libraries we have option for add jar, and it will open this. Then we will go into my folder and okay, apply, okay. So this jar file is added to the class path as well as in my project. Now what next thing we want to do, we will create a class JDBC example. This is the name of my class. We have public static void main and finish. So this is the example of JDBC. This is the example of JDBC. Now what we will do, first thing which we will do is, if you see here, we have to define the driver. So driver can be defined as class dot, we need the class dot for name. Yes, we will pass here the name of the driver. So name of our driver is com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So here we will match with this. We have com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So this is the name of my driver. Now what is the problem right now is we have to use the try catch. Try, and then catch, and here we will catch the exception. System.out.println exception dot get message. So if any exception occur, we will got that exception. Now what we will do, we have defined the driver that we are using MySQL driver here. Now next thing which we want to do is we will define a connection, and we will get the connection from the driver manager dot get connection. So this is how we will get the connection, and here we will pass the URL here, we will pass the username here, we will pass the password. So like our username is root, and we will import the SQL connection here now. And our, if you see here, what we need is, we need this JDBC colon MySQL colon local database. So this is the URL, local database 3306 telecom. Now we have the connection right now. So what we next need, statement. We will create a statement. Is equal to, statement is equal connection dot connection dot create statement. Now we have the statement right now. So what next thing we want to, we will execute this statement, we will create a table. So we have the query. This is our query. What we will do, we create table customer, we will create a table customer having column ID, this is integer type, it cannot be null, it is auto increment. Then we have name, this is VARCHAR, then we have age and salary, and primary key is our ID. So what we will do, we will do a statement dot execute, and we will pass it here. So we will pass our statement here. What next thing we will do, system dot out dot println table created successfully. Right now we will execute these queries and see the output, and here you can see that table created successfully. Now we will check whether it is created or not. Earlier we do not have any tables here, and now we will check, and here you can see that we have table customer in our database. So in this example, what we have done is we have created a table with the help of this JDBC. In our next example, what we will do, we will insert the values into this table customer, and we will retrieve those values from the database.